So, chapter 15. Before I begin, I would like to prepare you. There are lots of scriptures that I have to quote in this particular chapter that you need to better explain this chapter very well. So, patiently go through it. Keep your Bible or take note of the scriptures so that you can make reference to them later, but you need them. So let's patiently get through it together. And I promise you, this book, this last chapter will not leave you the same. The entire book will not leave you the same if you can patiently go through everything. Chapter 15 says, the Lion of Judah will manifest with the ultimate favor of God. Whenever God wants to favor the earth, he favors a man. Yes. It is the decree of the man's favor that will determine or regulate the favor of God on earth. Any land that prospered first processed men. So favor is associated with divine accomplishments. Any land that became valuable processed men. They produced valuable men through processing, through procession. They processed great men. So sending a child to the best school or giving them money are not really expedient for greatness. A valuable child will not need all of this. Don't get me wrong, don't misquote me. That's why I was kind of hesitating, so I can pass this message better. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that we don't all need basic amenities. No. But the word is, a valuable child will not depend on this. That means put them in rooms, put them in animal pen, in manger. They will rise up from there to become King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So a great child can grow to where they can produce this from themselves. Because they will travel, they are change makers. They can force their seasons to change. What we receive from people, the material things we receive externally, is not as important as the values people are born with. As the values we are born with. And greatness about inspiration. All great people are inspired. Inspiration cannot be taught. It's a personal administration of a personal teacher.
It's a seed.
It's a seed, yes. It cannot be taught. So when men of great inspiration, when great men, inspired men are born, the earth will not remain the same. But Gentiles don't focus on processing such men. Rather, they focus on training children. They focus on training people who are already born, rather than paying to process great seeds. After birth, certain things are too late. What is left is just room for impartation. And impartation does not alter the original nature. Although it can improve, but it does not alter the original nature. So just permit me to be a bit vulgaric. Sorry. A writer once said, you can motivate a fool, but you get a motivated fool. Inspiration is in spirit. Like I said, it cannot be taught. So great people are really inspired. They are people who depend on time to change the seasons. This is why people like Abraham started that journey of awareness, to process great seed, to process this. That's our future. City and build a city whose builder and maker is God, not made with hands. But the coming of such spirits takes a lot of effort, because men have to pay. You can see how many generations it took for that lineage to produce a Moses, progress to other great prophets, Isaiah, so many, and still process to Jesus. After how many thousands of years? Still, the second coming, see from that Jewish grandstand. So when can we finish with a great seed? But like I said, the reason why Gentiles don't pay attention to it is because it takes a lot of effort
to process.
Yes, to process such great seeds. This is why God can sometimes close the womb of women when he wants to do something new. Yes, some women are not really barren. God just wants them to make the effort to process a great seed, to keep storing that value. Because things don't come from, God only returns a value back men has kept in their heavens. You can say a heaven is a family grandstand. So it's a value kept in family heavens that God returns to them in their posterity. So you can be married and decide that, from now to the next 6 years, we'll not give birth because we want to process a great seed. And that's what Africa needs at this time. But to process a great seed, not to continue a pattern. But again, people avoid it because it takes pain. Such great seeds come through pain, through a lot of effort. But pain is very important because it brings out the best in people.
Yeah.
Because pain is an expensive teacher. There are things you cannot learn, we cannot learn except through pain.
Through pain.
Yes. That's the earth relates with the richness of pain. And God only crowns values harvested through pain. Values that pain harvests in people. So God relates with the earth through the values produced by pain. That is how rich pain is. Only that pain becomes devastating when its experiences are lost, or when its lost lessons are. Yes. Those who keep repeating stories of failures, who keep, repeating same level year after year, are those who keep wasting lessons of pain. Adapt, and it becomes devastating. But God stores important things, thrones. He hides important places, thrones, the path to greatness in pain, to separate ordinary people from it. So, if that is your path, don't call it suffering. It is a rich experience reserved for a favored few. What makes an experience rich is pain. What makes a story expensive? A story is told in pain. So let's make efforts to process great seeds. When great seeds come through such expensive process efforts, the earth does not remain the same. They depend on time to change their seasons. So let's process such seeds. These are the people who can bring fear on Satan because of their rich content. Support in their being, not in fighting, not even in fighting. Jesus did not fight Satan. Yeah, he just won in his death and resurrection, in his support. So these people bring fear on Satan. That is why Satan arranges Herods and Caiaphas against them. So they are people of great battles, they are travelers. So again, if that is your experience, don't call it suffering. It is a rich experience reserved for a privileged few. So go through it. In Matthew chapter 2, when Jesus was born, a star introduced his birth to the wise men. And in Luke chapter 2, angels introduced his birth, announced his birth to local shepherds. These are the activities of God, of the favor of God through a man. So the coming of the Lion will also be by favor. That means the coming we are waiting for is the favor of a man. When such people are born, the earth does not remain the same. The pattern has always been the same. The pattern has always been the same. All the comings of God, the messiahs, prophets God has sent to the earth has always been coming of men with such capacity to force seasons to change. Yes. Nothing is impossible on earth. If anything seems impossible, it is because of such people who can make it possible and not. Exactly. A child was born from Matthew chapter 2, I just mentioned. A child was born and there was a wrangling on earth. In just crying, angels were already announcing his birth. A baby, not even before, that was even before he grew. So, let's make efforts to process such great seeds. Death cannot leave the earth when the pattern sustaining death is still with man. Poverty cannot live, sicknesses, evils cannot live. When what is sustaining them, the structure, the framework, yes, is still with man. And we can keep repeating pattern, keep having educated first class, but in the same pattern, as long as the same pattern, it doesn't change. The only thing that can heal ruins is altar. And evil is first of all spiritual. So it is not, but this is not about repeating pattern of producing more motivated people or people who can provide mental motivation that brings fleeting gratification. Or what we need is not more political reforms, no. It's a spiritual transformation first. That's why we need to process such people. You cannot pour sugar and expect ants not to gather. If you leave sugar and decide to kill ants, you only wear yourself out. You really want to get tired. Like I said, so let's make the effort to process great seed instead of repeating pattern. Go to school, get married, give birth. Things keep just, and then it looks like things are changing, but it's actually a circle. Let's make the efforts. Because when such people are born, things don't remain the same. And these are people who know their capacity. They are men of great faith because they know their support in their being. They live by their sight, by the revelation. We cannot live beyond our knowledge. our revelation, cannot live beyond our support. So these are men of great capacity who know their size. Yes, all great men depend on time to change the season, like I've been reiterating. When David was born, he grew to know when his time to be king in Israel had come. This inspired him to ask King Saul what Saul would give to him if he killed Goliath. Even when Saul was discouraging him from fighting Goliath, that boldness came from a personal revelation. All his brothers discouraged him to go back home, but he knew from a personal inspirer. That's why I say when inspired men are born, the earth does not remain the same. So he knew from personal revelation. Before you get bold, there must be a personal revelation guiding you. There must be something you must discover that will attract God to bless you, to favor you. Jesus, on the other hand, he knew Israel would not remain the same after he was born. This is why when he came back from the wilderness, when he returned from the wilderness after being tempted by the devil, in Luke chapter 4, he went to the synagogue to declare his Messianism. And when he was given the Torah, he went straight to the prophecy of Isaiah in Isaiah chapter 61. However, Isaiah chapter 61 verses 1 to 4 is a twin Messianism of the Lamb. Just follow me patiently, you get it. Isaiah chapter 61 verses 1 to 4 is a twin prophecy, a twin Messianism of the Lamb who came to declare the season of grace and truth, and the Lion who will come to declare the season of vengeance. So that's why when Jesus was reading that prophecy in Luke chapter 4, when the Torah was given to him, he opened that particular chapter in Isaiah chapter 61. When he was reading, he stopped in 2a. Some people are confused, but let me just go through the verse briefly, quickly. I'll just preach through it. So Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1 says, "For the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of prison to them who are bound." Verse 2 says, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Jesus stopped here and closed the book because that's the Messianism of the Lamb. But the completion of verse 2 says, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God. That's because the Lamb did not come for vengeance. That's the coming of the Lion. So that's why Jesus stopped at acceptable year of the Lord. But and the year of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn. Verse 3 says, to appoint unto them who mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, garment of joy for mourning, the spirit of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. Verse 4, and they shall build up old waste, they shall raise up former desolation, repair waste cities, the desolation of many generations. That part is for the Lion. The Lion is coming to declare the ultimate favor of God, all the favor of God available in heaven. The Lamb did not finish the work of God. So this kind of answers the question why Jews don't believe in Jesus, because that's the twin Messianism. The Lamb did not finish the work of God on earth. If he did, why would there be a need for another coming? So the Lamb came to set platform, foundation for the Lion. Remember, favor functions with time. There's a time. Whatever God will accomplish on earth is controlled by time. Why? Because we are regulated by time. Man is regulated by time. So because of the weight of the dispensation of favor, it could not have been accomplished at that time. There needed to have been civilization, a lot of development, because of the depth of vengeance. So Jesus came to lay that foundation for the coming of Lion, because favor works with knowledge. So for the Lion to depend on deep mystery to declare the ultimate favor of God. And if that scripture says that when that time comes, when the Lion of Judah comes, there will be no more mourning in Zion, because Zion will be comforted, because a favored Redeemer is in their midst, the Lion of Judah. That even when the problem extends to generations, the Lion will fix it all. That is, they will build up old ways, repair waste cities, raise up former desolation, desolation of many generations. It is only the light of the Lion that can heal ruins. That revelational light of the Lion that can raise up former desolation. So this is why the raising of prophets and messiahs are expedient. All prophets and messiahs are messengers of God. I don't mean, when I say prophets, not sorcerers, mind you. All messiahs are prophets, but not prophets. The major activity, the major job of a prophet is to speak the word. Those who God sends speaks the word because of that reason, God does not give his spirit by measure unto them. That kind of prophets we are talking about. You see that in John chapter 3, verse 34. So all messiahs are prophets from God. These people are agents of multiplication. That's why God gave Aaron, Miriam, Moses to the ancient Jews to make sure they get to make their journey to the promised land successful. So when prophets, when messiahs, when deliverers are around, people will get to their promised land. The most powerful and relevant people are those who can release spirits that can follow others. Prophets have the mandate to stand on altars to release spirits who can help people. So one of the ways to know a powerful man is by the sacrifice he goes through to improve the lives of others. Receiving is not as important as improving your life. We are not made great by what we get from God, but by what we give to God and to other men and to others, to people. That is what we can provide for God to depend on and improve the lives of others. We are made great by that. So there cannot be favor on earth until men pay for it. This is the activity of men that will provoke the response of God. If there is no good road leading to any land, then the people don't want to pay. The inhabitants are mainly selfish, individualistic people who pay attention to only themselves and direct families. But for God to bless people, he must put another way. God must get something from men in order to favor them, in order to improve their life. So it is men that will provide the value that God can
use to favor them.
Yes, Revelation chapter 21 verse 3 says, I heard a great voice out of heaven. I said, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and God shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them and be their God. That tabernacle talks about a man who lost his life to take the life of God, so as to be responsible for redemption. If you don't lose your life, you cannot take the life of God. Like I said, one of the ways to know a powerful man is by the sacrifice he's willing to go through. He goes through to improve the lives of others. So the time of ultimate favor is a time of the manifest favor of a sacrificial man. That a man lost his life to take the life of God, so just so as to be responsible for redemption. A man lost his life to take the life of God so that others can be favored. Any time where people are willing to sacrifice themselves for others will develop in no distant time. But mind you, that process takes time. Why? Because honor is achieved in steps, which involves a process. So it takes time. But patience is a sign of favor. Having patience, a lot of people cannot have patience because patience is divine. So that you're patient, that you've been praying, but things are still going on. You don't like what is happening in the family, but you're still patient, waiting on God, hoping on God. You know that God will come through, no matter how long it takes. Just like Abraham, you're waiting. You keep putting your children in the same, keep waiting for that divine promise. It's because you're divine. That ability, you have that ability to be patient for that long because you're divine. I said earlier that there are certain things people cannot understand until they're favored. So being patient is a sign that you will win. Being patient is a sign that God is with you. Those who are patient cannot lose battles. Those who are patient cannot make irredeemable mistakes.
And they are favored.
Exactly. I hope it has blessed you. That concludes it for this entire book review. We have done it. Over to you, man.
We have come to the end of this review.
Yes.
This is the final segment, and this is the last for this book.
Yes.
Enjoying the favor of the Lion of Judah. God believes that he has favored us when we come in contact with great people.
Yes.
Yes. God believes he has favored us when we come in contact with great people. So when you say a great man, don't hesitate to associate with that person, because that shows that you are favored, because they always cast shadow on us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Like I said earlier, when we started this segment, that if you have not listened to the previous videos, please go back and listen to them. They are very important because those previous videos is in continuation. That's where we ended now. So it's important that you listen to them and then come and conclude it with us in this last segment. And moreover, if you have questions, if there's anywhere that's confusing you, please drop your question in the comment section. It will be answered. It will be clarified. Also, this book is very much available at the Shekinah Bookshop. This book is a product of Shekinah Publication and is very much available at the Shekinah Bookshop. Our Shekinah Bookshop is at Locust Army International Headquarters Church at Ado Road, Ajah, Lagos, Nigeria. And it's also available as an e-copy at the church website www.shekinahmediahouse.com. You get the e-copy. We will see you again for another book review.
Yes.
I'm not maybe. I wanted to say maybe with just I'm casting the word maybe, which is my Christian. Yes. So we're going to come back for another book review. Tune in for another session. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.